Yo, what is going on? BMAD here, BMAD Photo. It is late fall, well past peak foliage season, and the insects are kind of all gone. But we're gonna see what kind of macro we can get out here. But today I'm gonna be trying something different. Instead of using my 60mm macro, which is my favorite macro lens, I'm gonna put that back in my bag. And today, I'm gonna be using this beast, the 75 to 300mm Olympus lens, f4.5 to f6.7. I'm gonna see what kind of macro photography I can get, trying the technique known as telemacro. So let's give it a shot. Thanks for joining me. I love doing macro this time of year. Yes, the insects are gone, but if we turn the camera around, you can see that the fields are still beautiful with these muted colors, the browns and the grays. It's sunny today, so I don't have to worry about using a flash. And with telemacro, since I'm going to be kind of far from my subjects anyways, a flash wouldn't be ideal. So this is really like the perfect day for telemacro. Right now, I do have my camera in program mode. What's really interesting is this right here. I'm not sure what this is, but I want to see fully zoomed in how close I can get to it where it will still focus. And first I'm going to try at 75mm and just walk in, and here it is still focusing, it's still focusing, and about here is where it stops. So now I'm going to back up a little bit and try the zoom and see if we can also get it to focus. And oh, it is. And just like a macro, the plane of focus is pretty narrow. It's given me a 1/640. So let's look at some of these photos and see if the speed was fast enough to freeze the action. That actually worked out really well. Wow. And just like with regular macro, with telemacro, I'm paying attention to the background and the colors. One thing I really love this time of year, there's a lot of similar colors here, but there's these splashes of different colors. So, for example, out here, you can see there's still like a small plant that gives a splash of red. Another great thing that I realized about telemacro and having this lens is I'm able to get these shots that are really cool close-up shots, telemacro shots, but also I don't have to worry about changing lenses. I can have this one camera with this one lens, and all of a sudden if I see something off in the distance, such as a bird up here or a squirrel, this one lens is ready to go. So that's where the versatility of a lens like this comes in. It's a little big and heavy, so yeah, it's not like your everyday carry lens. But for telemacro, I am in the perfect spot. I can stand right here and on this bush, focus, and get the shots. So I've come over here close to where I pointed out this little red tree that started to grow here. It's very small and it still has its red leaves on it. And what I'm going to do is I want to get a macro style shot of some of this foliage that's growing with the red leaves blurred out in the background. So of course, if I were using the 60mm macro, which I do have in my bag, I would be right here taking the shot. Now, of course, this lens will not focus this close. As I back up, here is where it's locking focus. But let's take the shot. It's given me about 1/500th at 6.3. Again, just playing around with the program mode, see what it does. Look at the photo here. And it's all right, but yeah, the background is kind of busy and not really giving the effect that I thought. So what I'm going to do instead is see if I can get something that's a little bit further away from the red leaves. Now this is interesting. So here is another one of these, and it's just got this little puff at the top. I think I like this. Yeah, this is great. Now I have to back up a little bit to be able to zoom in and get the compression. So you can see I'm getting back further away from the same subject. And now, okay, so I have the zoom at the retracted spot, so I'm at 75, 150 equivalent, and you can see it's easy to get a shot from here, of course. So there it is on the screen. So now I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I can still maintain focus. Yeah, this is great. So now I'm zooming in even more. So now I am at 200 millimeter, and what it's doing to the background is really great. This is beautiful separation. Another interesting thing is I'm using back button focus. While I'm not focusing, you can see how much this is really shaking. But when I engage the continuous autofocus, the in-body image stabilization of this camera is unreal. It's like you can't even tell that my hands are shaking. And now let's go all the way to 300. Now, 300 is probably not the sharpest part of this lens. All right. So let's take a look at some of the pictures now. What I noticed over here is there's some milkweeds. There's a pod of milkweed pods growing in the middle of this field. And from off in the distance, looking at the sea of grasses and prairie grasses, everything looked the same, but then there was this glint of light out in the middle. So much like little explosions of color, there's also little explosions of texture. And so that's what I'm looking for when I'm doing macro or telemacro like this, is interesting subjects that stand out differently from what's around it. Okay. I'm still doing telemacro, so I'm a good distance from the 3 or 4 stalks of milkweeds. And I am going to attempt to do some telemacro of these beautiful subjects. And still playing with the program mode just for the heck of it, which has given me F8 and a speed of between 640 and 800. It's kind of flopping back and forth, so this is great. And I'm just gonna take a test shot at 300 millimeters, and I just want to check and see if it's fast enough. And it is razor sharp. This one, even at 300 millimeters, razor sharp, and it's pretty windy. That is shaking, and the little fibers are really blowing around. But you would think I did this in a vacuum. There's like no movement, so that is definitely fast enough for telemacro, even when I'm at 300 millimeters. What did you think? This was pretty fun out here today with the EM5 Mark III from Olympus with this 75 to 300 millimeter lens. I'm realizing there's a lot more to this lens than I expected, and I'm glad I got this idea to try out telemacro. So I will be doing this a lot in the future. I really think, yeah, I'm very happy with the shots that I got. So thanks for joining me on BMAD Photo. While you're here, I just want to say again, thank you for watching. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel and share this if you know other people that might be interested in photography, macro photography, street photography. But if you don't want to subscribe, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for joining me. And here's another macro video. Check this one out. Also from Mallard Lake.